Alright, this is video number 2 for chapter 5. With this slide here, I don't want you to focus so much on the advertisement, but I want you to focus on the title of need perception. There are 3 terms here that you have to be very clear on. The 3 terms are part of this selective process, and the first one is called selective exposure. The second one is selective perception. The third one is selective retention. All right, selective exposure, what we're referring to here is when we seek out only the information that interests us. We notice only the information that interests us. If it's not interesting to us, we don't really pay attention to it. We don't remember it. It doesn't have any influence or bearing on us whatsoever. Selective perception is when we block or modify any ideas, any information that we get that is in conflict with something that we believe or something that we have learned. And the third one, selective retention, is that we remember only what we want to remember. You know, if it's not something that we are interested in, something that we don't want to remember, something that's not interesting to us, then chances are we're not going to remember it. But we tend to remember things that we like, we're interested in, and those are easy for us to remember and hold on to. All right, drives, cues, and responses. All right, a drive is just, mentioned this before I believe, is a strong stimulus that encourages us to have some sort of an action. And then depending upon the cues which are advertisements, the cues could be a specific product or the packaging that they're in, signs that we see, anything like that that's within that external environment. And then based upon these cues, you or I, some individual, will choose a specific response. And then the response is just simply the effort to try to satisfy the drive. Now the reinforcement is something that occurs when the response is followed by satisfaction. That's reinforcement. You buy a product and it does what you expected it to do. You buy food that tastes good and it fills that need, that hunger. That's what we're looking at in regards to the reinforcement. Attitudes related to buying. First of all, an attitude is a person's point of view about something. It's just simply that. It's a person's point of view about something. Attitudes tend to be something that can be learned. They can be shaped. They can be related to buying, like our decision-making process. So marketing and people in marketing do a lot of research on people's attitudes, right? People's point of view about whatever it is that they want. Beliefs or opinions that people have about something. Talked about green attitudes. That is where people and companies try to have a positive effect on the environment. Okay, those are green choices or green beliefs. Ethical issues may arise if marketers promote inaccurate or false beliefs, inaccurate or false information. They try to be misleading at some point. That's where we can have some ethical situations. Expectations are just outcomes or events that you are anticipating. If you expect something, you're thinking ahead and anticipating something to happen. So you want to try to meet the expectations that customers have as well. And very importantly, you want to build trust between your company, your products, and the consumers. Trust will build confidence and reliability. It's very important in some purchase situations that consumers have trust in not only the product but the company that is making that product as well. All right, psychographics. We talked about activities, interests, and opinions. Activities are things that people like to do. These are different things that they participate in, that they enjoy. Interests tend to create stronger drives that may actually pinpoint different opportunities for you. What are you interested in as well? Activities are the things that take place what do you do in your spare time? Do you enjoy sports? Do you enjoy, whatever? Your interests could be more than just your activities. Activities could relate to your interests, but interests are anything that you really like. It doesn't have to be something that you do, but it's stuff that you like. Lastly, opinions are the way in which people feel about certain things. Right now, with this also, the next slide are some examples of activities, interests, and opinions. Excuse me. Okay, so you can just look at this table. It's Exhibit 5-6, pages 128, 129, I believe, in your book, to get some examples for activities, interests, and opinions. At the bottom, they also have some demographic information as well, just as a refresher and a reminder for you. All right, social influences, and how do they affect consumer behavior? What we're going to do is take these apart one by one thing at a time. So we'll be looking at each of these particular areas. All right, first of all, the family life cycle. The green area going across the middle is the traditional flow of information, the flow from when you are young and single to by the time you are elderly. So the green one going across right the middle there, that is where we are talking about, I mentioned the example I used in class is referring to like the Cosby Show and the Brady Bunch and places like that on television that have that traditional style. Down at the bottom, the blue area is when we refer to couples and families where divorce has happened. A large percentage of marriages, somewhere around 50%, end in divorce in today's American society. So they need to include that because you have to still market to people who are in different situations. The bottom are the ones divorced with children. Up at the top, you have divorced without children, and each person and each situation is going to be different and unique. Social influences, again, on here, consumers' family, social class, reference groups, any of these things could influence the consumer decision process. Your relationships with your family members could have a positive or negative influence as well. Your marital status, your age, age of kids if you have kids, things like that, demographic information will have impact as well. Empty nesters, down at the bottom, are people whose children are grown. They can now pretty much spend the money on themselves if they wish to, because the kids are no longer at home, no longer in the nest, and the nest is now empty, so it's just the husband and wife being able to spend money on themselves as well. Depending upon where you are in the family structure and what stage of life you're at, buying responsibility and influence can vary greatly. Okay, depending upon who is the decision maker. All right, checking your knowledge. Travel and tour operator has announced luxury vacation packages to various destinations across the globe. The package includes overnight stays. Sorry about that interruption. But the package includes overnight stays at opulent resorts and services from posh spas, very elaborate, expensive, luxurious ones. Which of the following is most likely to be the target customer base for the said tour operator? The bottom line here is this kind of a package is centered for and a deal for people who do not have kids. So it's not for teenagers. Single parents have kids. Middle-aged, married with children. Okay, so C is out. E, young married with children, out. So the best answer here would be centered around letter D. All right, social classes in the United States. A lot of times it's perceived that income is the main determinant of social classes, which it is not. All right, it's important to remember that when considering any influences that a person might choose that the social influence role is largely determined by the social class to which you as a consumer would belong. The social class is simply a group of people who have approximately equal social position, all right, as viewed by others in society. That's the book's definition there. So a social class, there are a couple categories here. The occupation that you have helps to determine your social class, your education level, type of house that you live in, the location of the house that you live in. Now, a lot of these have direct impacts on the income, or the income has direct impacts on those. So income is indirectly related as well, but it is not the main determinant of social class in the United States. Lastly, on this slide, the difference between reference groups and opinion leaders. Reference groups are just people that you would look to when trying to form an opinion about some sort of topic or product or situation. Okay, these are people that you trust, people that are your family, your closest friends, people like that. Opinion leaders are just people who have any kind of an influence over others, celebrities, athletes, musicians. These are people who have influence over large groups of people. And that's why a lot of times companies will use celebrities and athletes as spokespeople to endorse their products. All right, this is the end of video number 2.